What's up, guys? I'm Kevin Nahai. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Other Side. And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing the concept of self-love. What exactly does it mean to love ourselves? How exactly do we do that? How do we get to that place? And for me, it's a unique combination of a couple of things. The first thing has to do a lot with how we treat ourselves, how we view ourselves, what we give to ourselves, how kind we are to ourselves, etc. And the second thing has to do with our ability to let go of and walk away from things that simply aren't meant for us or don't serve us or are destructive to us in some way or another. So I want to discuss each of those things in detail. But first I want to say that in order to get to a place where you are able to practice self-love day in and day out, there is a process of unlearning that needs to happen beforehand. Unlearning what? Unlearning all of the lies and bullshit that have been put in your head from the time perhaps that you were a little kid by parents, by teachers, by people who bullied you, basically people who told you that you weren't good enough, you weren't smart enough, you weren't attractive enough, you don't do enough, you don't have enough. All of this stuff, all of this white noise, vitriol bullshit that we listened to, that we internalized, that for some odd reason we believed about ourselves and who we are at our core, without actually asking ourselves who we are at our core. In order to love yourself, you have to unlearn all of that nonsense, all of that crap that you've believed your entire life up until this point. I'm 26 years old, and it's sad that I am just now, as a man of this age, learning how to love myself. Why? Because my entire life I've believed lies about myself that other people have put into my head that simply aren't true. And it is so liberating. It is such a beautiful thing to be able to say, wow, I believed all of that stuff and it was complete horse shit and I don't have to believe it anymore. And now, day in and day out, I can practice acts of self-love to build up a true, authentic self-esteem and to build up a sense of self that can weather any storm, and that no matter how people criticize me or what they think of me, it doesn't matter because I know who I am, I know what I believe in, and I know what I'm about. It's a truly beautiful thing. So I want to tell you how I've sort of gotten to that place and how I practice it. So the first thing, as I mentioned, what you give to yourself is everything. How you treat yourself is everything when it comes to self-love. My general rule of thumb is that I have to treat myself the way I would treat my very best friend in the world. So if my best friend got rejected by a girl, or if they didn't get some promotion that they wanted, or if their parents were, being complete assholes to them, or whatever it may be, if my best friend was feeling really down on his luck, I would not go there and tell him, you know what, all of this is happening because you're not good enough, because you didn't work hard enough, because you're not attractive enough. No, of course not. I would be the most loving, encouraging, supportive, kind person in the world to them because I love my best friend and I want the best for him and I want him to feel confident in who he is. Meanwhile, when I'm feeling down on my luck, I've spent my entire life telling myself lies and self-flagellating and self-effacing mean things about myself, and I've gotten into my own head and told myself these things that aren't true, when the question is, why aren't I treating myself, the way I would treat my very best friend, right? So what you tell yourself has to be the exact same as what you would tell somebody that you really love. And then, in addition to that, giving to yourself and self-care is also about what you do on a daily basis, okay? So I can smell a person who doesn't love themselves from a mile away. And how? Because I look at their actions. If I see somebody who is in a dead-end job that they fucking are miserable at, who goes out drinking their ass off 6 nights a week, who does all kinds of recreational drugs, who is sleeping around all over town, I know that that person is in a really dark place in their life. Why? Because they're doing things that are self-destructive day in and day out. On the flip side, if I see somebody who's exercising, who's eating well, who loves their job, no matter how much money it makes, who has a great work-life balance, who does things that are fulfilling for them, who hangs out with their friends, has good relationships with their family, and so on and so forth, I know that that person really loves themselves. Why? Because every single day, they are performing acts of kindness and of giving to themselves, because every single day they are prioritizing this. They are saying, my body, my mind, and my emotional state are a temple, and I have to do everything in my power to protect those things. That's how you know you really love yourself. I hope that that makes sense. Now, the second part of loving yourself, for me, has a lot to do with the ability to let go of things and people and situations that are just not right for you, that are just not good for you. Now, this might seem obvious. It might seem self-evident that if you're in a toxic relationship or a job that sucks or your parents are being assholes to you or whatever, that you just say, fuck all that. I don't need to deal with that in my life. But it's actually extremely hard to be able to do that. The reason is that the ability to let go of things graciously, without ill will towards other people or other things that aren't right for you, it requires a lot of self-love. It requires a lot of confidence. It requires a very high level of self-esteem to be able to say, this person or this thing isn't serving me. I'm going to gracefully let it go because I know who I am. I know what I need. I know what's important to me, and I love myself enough that I don't have to feel a sense of obligation to those things or those people. I fucking hate my job. Well, I've put in all this time, so maybe I feel obligated to my boss, but you know what? It's not worth it to me to be miserable here. So I don't have to feel obligated. I can gracefully walk away. I'm in this terrible relationship. Well, I've put in all this time. I've made this investment in the person. We've come this far. I feel obligated. I have to stay in this relationship. No, you don't. Staying in that relationship is an act of self-destruction. It's an act of self-hatred because it's making you miserable. You have the power. You have the ability to walk away from something that is making you miserable. And the second you walk away from that thing, the more you're building up your self-love, right? So I used to think that the way it works is that one day you magically wake up loving yourself and feeling confident and strong in who you are. And as a result of that, you are able to walk away from things that aren't meant for you, and you are able to take good care of yourself. But my friends, it doesn't work that way. It is actually the opposite process, right? First, you have to carry out the actions every single day of self-love. And then you arrive at a place where you really, truly love yourself and where you're really, truly happy and content and confident in who you are. It's not the other way around, right? Every day, you got to take good care of yourself. You have to tell yourself positive and loving things. You got to exercise. You got to eat right. You got to do the things that make you happy. If you're in a bad job or a bad relationship or a bad family dynamic, you got to let go of all of those things. And the more you do those things day in and day out, eventually all of those things start to build and you really start to feel like, wow, I am so secure in who I am now. I really, truly, authentically love myself so much now. And it's not a false loving yourself either. It's not a narcissistic, egotistical, inflated sense of self where you go around telling people how amazing you are all the time and you really think that you're the son of God. No, no, no. True self-love and humility go hand in hand. And sometimes the people I meet who I can tell love themselves the most are actually the most humble. Why? Because no matter who criticizes them or who critiques them, no matter if somebody is there to denigrate them or to help them, no matter what they say to that person loves themselves enough that regardless of what they hear, regardless of the outside noise, they are solid in who they are solid with themselves, and they are taking care of themselves. That's the place that I want to get to, and I hope I can take you along with me on my journey. So please, if you want to talk about who you are, what's important to you, if you want to work on loving yourself and getting to that place, I encourage you to send me a message on Instagram so we can chat. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys on the next video.